Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of KiDE. Today is day 3, and we are looking at housekeeping and home management. So, the agenda for today, we're looking at who is a professional housekeeper. And we are saying here that the housekeeper is a quiet guardian of the home. As the name itself suggests, this is housekeeper. You're keeping the home. So everything that you do is geared towards the home and, of course, the home that gives shelter to its occupants. So you are not just cleaning, but you are bringing order and you are bringing comfort. So if there's one key word that you need to note, it's order. And if there's another keyword, that would be comfort. Ultimately, it's comfort that you are bringing to the family. But most importantly, good health also matters. So a housekeeper will maintain a clean home. And I want you to take note of this term, maintain. What we do usually for the long-term placements is maintenance cleaning. And there's a difference between maintenance cleaning and deep cleaning. And it's important to keep in mind that majority of the time, what you will be doing will be maintenance cleaning for a clean and a healthy home. Then the another big word here is organize. So you can have a clean space that is not necessarily well organized. For example, some people when cleaning a table can shift things around just to wipe it down. So the table itself is clean, yet the items are not well placed or is disorganized. So as a housekeeper, it's not just enough to clean the home, but you need to rearrange things, put things in the right place, and organize these spaces so that it's efficiently used. Another aspect of it is managing the laundry. It's a default work of the housekeeper to manage the laundry. However, like we explained earlier when we're talking to the nannies, if you are a nanny, then it means that you are in charge of the laundry for the kids, unless the home has a different arrangement. You are in charge of the laundry for the kids, but the housekeeper is in charge of the laundry for the entire household, which could include the kids. So in a home, as most of our clients do, where there's a separate nanny, there's a separate housekeeper, it's important that you have that understanding who does what. If in doubt, assume you have to do it, right? It's always better to assume that you have to do it and do it well. Don't be in the home and be sharing responsibilities to one another. This happens often, so be mindful of that. And then one main part of the house that is really the housekeeper's main task to do is to maintain the kitchen. The entire, also here, let's add that some homes have a cook, a housekeeper, and a cleaner. So then a housekeeper and a nanny, sorry. So it means that the mom will determine whose jurisdiction ends where. But as a housekeeper, it's a very generic term. So every part of the house, unless you've been told to keep off that space, is under your care. So maintaining kitchen hygiene is one of the main things that we'll be talking about as well. And then daily cleaning tasks, planning daily cleaning tasks. Here, the main word is the plan, right? So it's one thing to do, and it's another thing to plan. You can have a housekeeper in a home always busy, yet the client isn't satisfied. Why? Because we tend to move towards areas of um, areas that we like. Everyone has a favorite chore. Something some time ago there was a video circulating and we're asking women primarily what their favorite chore is. And you'll be surprised someone likes washing but then doesn't like ironing, right? So everyone has what their favorite chore is. That is why planning is essential, because you are not just leaving it to your whims and caprices, which would always lead you to do a particular task while neglecting other tasks in the maintenance process. So plan daily what needs to be done and apportion the time appropriately so that you can touch on and maintain the house in its entirety. And then you support the family through organization. Organization is very key, especially a family where there are a lot of kids, there are toys everywhere. This can be a daily task, a weekly task, or a monthly task, depending on the home involved. So let's go into more details. You see these two pictures on the left hand side of the slide. It's it's beautiful, right? And it's picture perfect, as we'll say. Um, we've had clients in the past for care sitters telling us that if they are going to hire a housekeeper, then they want their home to look like a hotel. So that is generally, and I always shape in these expectations of clients so that we know that this training is not just theoretical, but giving you practically what clients have in mind when they are coming in for the service, right? There's someone has a picture of what her home wants should look like, his or her home should look like, and they understand that based on their schedule they cannot maintain it that way, so they come for the help. That means that they don't want the house to necessarily look like the way you went to meet it. They want it to look better. That's why they came for the help. And if all you do is see the dining table in the state it's in, the hall in the usual state, and you just clean past it, then they wouldn't feel that there's that extra edge, there's that extra help that has come in. Because I once asked a housekeeper, how often do you think the hall should be cleaned? And she said every 3 to 5 days. I'm like, if it's every 3 to 5 days, the mom will do it herself. She will find time within 3 to 5 days to clean it herself. She's coming in for you because she feels there's a need to constantly do it. There's a certain level of excellence in her mind, but she's being honest with herself to say because of her current schedule she cannot maintain it, so she would rather hire someone to come in to keep that up. That is why they should feel within the first couple of days a difference in your being included in the household as a worker. And these picture perfect things you are showing is ideally let me add that caveat, because when they are kids, I mean, it could be something else, but it's ideally the look they are going for, right? So please have that in mind, that you are doing professional work. Again, I'll mention that this is why I don't like the combined role nanny housekeeper, because it doesn't allow us to find the right person for the right fix, and it doesn't allow the client to also get the right full measure of a particular role. So a housekeeper is keeping the place clean, hygienic, organizing the space, and supporting comfort, which would mean running errands in some cases. So your boss comes back from work, oh, they're so tired, they kick their shoes on the side. And the next morning they come downstairs and they realize the shoes they kicked on the side is still there. They wouldn't feel like they're getting that extra help or that extra support. So it's important. Another thing with the cleaning is that cleaning directly affects the health of the family. This is because a dirty home will cause infections, allergies, pests, stress. So we are in the preventative side of healthcare, if you look at it that way, as housekeepers and home managers. So when the family comes home, returns home from work, and there's a live-in or a live-out housekeeper who has come to work and left, they should feel like, oh, wow. There should be that wow factor. It shouldn't feel like normal. So go at it. Do your best to maintain the home in a way that things do not even accumulate to need deep cleaning. That's the maintenance cleaning. And then in some cases, after some time, you need to deep clean and touch on some not so easy to reach places. So yes, a professional housekeeper will keep the home clean, will maintain the hygiene, will organize spaces, and support family comfort. So keyword here, comfort. Okay. Now, I've touched on it briefly, but why does cleanliness matter? In Ghana, malaria is one of the biggest issues that we have been tackling. And mosquitoes continue to exist because there are breeding grounds for them. And although the popular breeding grounds seems like, oh, it's just in gutters outside, you could be breeding mosquitoes in your own home, right? So it could be mosquitoes, it could be cockroaches, then also with the added effect of coming in to contaminate your food. And most importantly, if we have the floors, the surfaces unclean, and kids are crawling or attaching it and putting it straight into their mouths, they can easily fall sick. So this is why cleanliness matters, because it directly or indirectly affects the health of the members of the home. So we want to avoid all these things mentioned here: malaria, food poisoning, diarrhea, skin infections, and pest infestations. And onto our right, I'm showing here a picture of a typical home. This is probably after they've done some cooking or clean work in the kitchen. And then at the bottom, you see the other picture with the countertops clean, everything wiped away, tagged in the right places. Which of these two homes would you like to be part of, or would you like to see? So the reality is that depending on the time of day or depending on what activity is going on, we've all had this situation A happening at some point or another. And the role of the housekeeper is to, at the end of the day, or let's say at regular intervals, ensure that we are aiming for this. Of course, if this is a home that people are living in actively, it will be picture perfect, but at least at certain pivotal points in the day, like early morning when they wake up, come to a clean kitchen. That's what we would recommend. Or late at night going to bed, that left it in a clean state. so that we all wake up to a bright and beautiful kitchen. And it matters, especially for our health. Um, so this topic, it may seem like, Kiki, do we really need to talk about this? But you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised some of the conversations that we've had. And trust me, like for majority of you, all these things will seem like, oh yeah, we know this already. And that's good. That's great that you know it. But you'll be surprised the number of people that we speak to that we find that they think some of these tasks are not daily tasks. It's one thing to know that it's a daily task, but to recognize that because of the workload, you are not able to keep up with it. It's another thing to not even know that it's a daily task. Okay, so because this is a training and we are basing on ideal situations, we will tell you what is a daily task. As to the practicality of it, of the home that you are in, if you have to combine with other responsibilities, or you've been given a direct instruction to focus on something else as to why you cannot do this daily, then that would be nuanced and up to between yourself and the employer or the client. But bear in mind, daily, daily, these areas in the home have to be cleaned. The kitchen, you see why the kitchen is top here. This is the source of all the food that is going into our stomachs. So it's prime area in every home. And then, yes, the bathroom also comes next. Some people may think a bathroom is a weekly thing. And sometimes we all fall short of this because there's no time. But that is the place that has the potential to carry germs the most. So, bathrooms, like the bathroom sink, I'll use an example from my home. There's a dedicated cleaning sponge for the bathroom sink. So whenever I am using it for whatever reason, then I make it a point to clean that, because it's like using a bowl, but because it's a big bowl, you feel that, oh, this big bowl will be fine. But can you imagine using the same bowl in the kitchen over and over again without cleaning it in between use? You wouldn't. So daily, the sinks, the seats of the toilets, the handles of the taps, all those things have to be cleaned daily. Just make a conscious effort that whenever you use it and you are washing your hands, you would make sure you've used soap to clean the handle so that we are not transferring germs from one person to another, right? And then the ultimate space that most people see, and most of us are really cleaning with, oh, if a visitor comes in mind. I mean, we'll talk about that later, but it's not about if a visitor comes, it's for us, the people who are using it on a daily. The living area is a place that has to be swept at least every day. Swept, not just maybe you cannot mop, you cannot dust all the chairs, but ideally aim for that. But if the schedule doesn't allow, fine. Then the floors is a general term. Every part of the house has a floor. So when we say the floors, you can imagine it just means that basically when you wake up, also depending on the size of the house, have it in mind that every part of the house has to have a clean sweep, especially when there are kids in the house. And then my favorite, the frequently touched surfaces. Oops, bad color. The frequently touched surfaces. The frequently touched surfaces like our door handles, some tables, frequently used tables. You see that there will be hand marks, and remote control. Imagine this: you are a housekeeper in a house, and every time the owner of the house comes in, touches the remote, they realize that this thing has been wiped down, this thing has been sanitized and cleaned down. They'll be so impressed. That's the extra mile that you can go to make you stand out from the rest who have not received training, right? The switches where we always touch, oh, put on the light, put off the light. So when you are sweeping, you are doing your quick run around, you have a nice fiber cloth, you wipe down those places, spray some sanitizer, and then make sure that it's neat for everyone. The family will love you for that. And if there are kids, not just the housekeeper, but the nanny should also be looking out for these things and making sure that the daily spaces that the kids use, you are cleaning it preventatively. Not that they've spilled food on the floor, so you are cleaning it before it's time for um to play in the play area or any other example. Now I want to look at the tools. So I mean, this picture is just showing us a brief like setup that a housekeeper has with all their tools handy, hand gloves, the microfiber towel that I spoke about. If the home has the normal kitchen cloth, please tell them to get you a microfiber towel. It's better for the cleaning, a brush, a mop, a broom, um, the right detergent for the right place and the right job, and use it properly. So we'll say a mop, for example. We all know. Okay, let me know as you. A mop is used to clean floors, right? So you cannot be cleaning the floor. Then because there's a table there, then you lift the mop and put and use to clean the table. So every example I'm giving here is because there's an experience that I've had to back it. So if it sounds ridiculous to you, I'm glad. But let's say even the littlest things, you never know whom it will be helping. The mop is for the floor. It cannot be transferred to use for any other surface. In fact, some homes have a different mop for the floors that are in the general areas and a different mop for those places like the kitchen because it can get greasy. So you wouldn't want to transfer the greasiness from the kitchen to the hall. Some people will they'll mop the whole place and then it will be smelling because the mop had not been cleaned properly after use. So the mop is supposed to clean, so it needs to be cleaned properly after use to make it clean enough for the next day's use. A broom would also generally be used for sweeping and to clear dust and debris from the floor. And this should be used before the mop. The mop does not um, it's not a supplement to the broom, or it's not a substitute to the broom. It's supposed to um, complement the broom. So after using the broom, then you mop. Then the brush will help you to scrub some stubborn dirt and stains. There are certain places where typically we use them multiple times before it's cleaned, like the bathtub. So those places you need to put in a bit of arm work and then clean. There are some care sitters here who came over for training. They said they had cleaned the tub and it wasn't done properly. They know themselves, they're watching. So you need to put in some efforts when you're using the scrubbing brush. Don't simply wipe down and then say you've cleaned a bathroom. Um, Here also, one caution I would make is be careful the transference. Don't be using the bathroom brush for the kitchen. Have different ones for different use. The cleaning cloth is important to have one for the kitchen, one again different uses. The one for the whole cleaning table, shelves, kitchen counters, windows, appliances. It removes dust, and then if there's a spill, like a water spill, a child spill something, you can also use that to clean, and then rinse it off or wash it off or add to the laundry. Some detergents are stronger than others, and some are made to remove stains. Now, when you go to the supermarket, they even tell you this is for the kitchen, this is for countertops, this is for the floor. And all those instructions are important because of the pH of the detergent and what it can cause on the surface. So don't use a window cleaner for the kitchen surface just because clean is clean. What can clean glass is different from what can clean porcelain. So bear this in mind. And gloves. I mean, during COVID, gloves were some of the most essential essential tools, and all of a sudden we've gone back to our default. Gloves are important, especially when you're using some of these very harsh detergents. Some of us have very sensitive skin, so it's important to wear the gloves. But if it's water, and for most things, water can do it. So if it's just water, then you may not need the gloves, but wear it if you can and if it's available, to avoid you yourself, the one doing the cleaning, getting infested after the cleaning. Of course, proper hand washing and hygiene is important at all times after you clean. And even in between cleans, when you need to touch something or be conscious of that, always wash your hands again. Even when they are coming out of gloves, wash it again before you move on to any other thing. So these are some of the important cleaning tools. You can add any that you also have. We'll discuss this evening during the evening call. Okay, so there's a general philosophy when it comes to cleaning, and that is we clean from top to down. This is just practical because whatever you're cleaning at the top, the dust will come down and settle. So if you clean the down first, then at the time that you're moving up, now new dust will fall on the floor again. So it's just practical that you clean from top to down. So if you're in a room, you get into a room, you're going to clean, you scan all the things that need to be cleaned. You keep in mind that it's from top to down. So, okay, what's the highest item up there? Oh, the fan. Am I touching the fan? No. Okay, then fine. Then you move on, right? And once you get to the floor, once you've done all this dusting on whatsoever, and everything is on the floor, to clean the floor, you sweep first. You sweep first, then you use the clean water and a detergent if you are using a detergent. Sometimes you don't need to use a detergent, just the water and the cloth is fine. But if you're using a detergent, you use clean water and the detergent, then you use to mop thoroughly. As you are mopping, depending again on the size of the house and how long in between you last mop, and the level of dust that has accumulated over the time. You may need to rinse and change the water. Please don't be lazy and think that just because you have uh you are mopping, so you have to use that same water, because some of you end up destroying the tiles. And then you have to allow the floor to dry completely. After the floor has dried completely, before other people are allowed to come into the space or into the area. If this hasn't happened, it can become a slip hazard. So when there are children, because this is a household focused course, we have to bear in mind that there may be children around. So you need to have someone else keeping an eye on them whilst you're doing this, and only allow them back when it's dry. Yes, I'm singling out the bathroom because I think, again, like I highlighted earlier, it hasn't been one of the usual spaces that we think should have daily clean. Here, I know some of you may come ask questions, Lady Kiki, are you sure? And that's why I gave the caveat earlier. Ideally, it should be daily, but of, often in most homes, it's weekly because we feel it has to be some grand thing. But there are some little things that you can do, such as those faucet handles, those tap handles. On the daily, you could be wiping them down so that it's not accumulating germs over the time, right? So the bowl itself, I mean, how long does it take? After one of your own, after you have used it, just use the brush. Make sure there's no line forming. That will end up being more difficult to clean in a week's time, right? The sink, the floor, the shower area. Um, Rinse it down at least so there are no marks being formed on the tiles or the walls of the shower. And here it will be important to use disinfectants, disinfectants like Dettol, Camel. Put a little bit of this disinfectant in the water that you're using, especially for the bathrooms, because even the surfaces is important to put a bit of disinfectant on them so that you do not carry those same germs and transfer them to other parts of the home. Ah, my favorite part of the house. Then we come to the kitchen. You see why this young gentleman illustrated here is just relaxing, having his cup of coffee or Milo, checking his phone, checking his emails in the kitchen. Yeah, that's the standard that wants our kitchens, the care kitchens, to get to. They should be so comfortable that it's a nice gathering area. It's a nice place that everyone would want to hang out. And that can only be achieved if the kitchen is clean, if the kitchen is dry, and if it is organized. So this one is compulsory at every point in time. Organized, clean. That's why you're there. That's your main task. That's why you're there. So please make it a point to clean as you go. For the kitchen, it's not even something you say daily. It's as you go, on the move. um Maybe more practical to put it in some regular time frame. So after, let's say, in the morning, kids are prepared for school, the breakfast is made. Once they leave, if you're doing the school drop off, once you come back, then you organize that. You make sure it's clean enough for you to use for their afternoon, preparing for their afternoon meal. Then you organize it back after your use. Then you make dinner and clean it up again. So it's multiple times a day. It's not once a day. It needs more attention than the other parts of the house. Also, dishes. Some people can wash dishes. Some of the videos and pictures that we've received. So, madam, look at the dish she said she has washed. I don't know what to say because you need to put effort into it. Most Ghanaian homes, I'll say majority of Ghanaian homes don't have dishwashers. We usually wash dishes with our hands. But some of our clients have dishwashers. If you're not familiar with using it, let them teach you how to load it, how to offload it. Some dishwashers, they come out like quickly clean. Some you need to wipe it down. Again, depends on how long you leave it in there for after the cycle is completed. But let me speak to the majority side, which is usually what we would have to pick up the plate and wash it after you are done. If it's a glass, or you know how you know that a glass is clean. I don't know, some of these things, it's only we'll have to do the practicals. But you should when you pour water on a clean glass, it runs off without leaving any traces. Do you understand? So when you are rinsing what you've washed, that's the best test of whether you've washed it. Some of the pictures I've seen, please wash plates well, clean the surfaces well, and always cover the food. Don't leave food uncovered. Laundry management. Hmm. For some of us, um, this is this could be daily or weekly or bi-weekly, depending on, again, the components of the family or the size of the family. Because some of the kids' uniforms, they don't have enough to last a week, or even if they do, um, there may be a major stain that you wouldn't want to leave till the end of the week. So as for laundry to come up, sometimes on the daily, you should be ready to, I mean, quickly wash a hand cloth, even the things that you're using to clean. After each of it, you won't dump it there and wait till the end of the week, right? So you should always have a slot in your day's activities for some laundry that you do. Some of the key tips: separate the colors, separate the white from the black, don't mix things up. Your madam's very nice dress, you see that this dress looks expensive, you go and mix it with school uniforms, with dust and dirt. I mean, separate the clothes according to colors, but also separate the clothes according to according to use. You cannot be mixing children's clothes with adults' clothes just because you want to do it once and for all. No, make time in the week for the different types and of clothes, and use the right soap. I once found a housekeeper using detergent that we used to wash for bowls. Why? Use the correct soap for the right job. And drying of the clothes, as is demonstrated here. And if you have gone to do the lawn, you you've dried the clothes. Who do you think will pick it up? You now. You are the only one who remembers that there are clothes there. Or set an alarm, let someone else remind you. Some housekeepers would leave the clothes on the line and the clothes will rain. I know you don't do that. You are good. Just iron when needed. is very controversial, because I realized majority of you don't like ironing. It's more energy efficient to iron in bulk than to iron one by one, as and when you need. But again, for this, refer to the instructions from the homeowner on how they want to organize their things. But iron every cloth that has been washed and hung outside. It's more hygienic that is ironed before it is worn. Don't say, oh, this one is just for housewear. Iron it before you use it. An important thing that we need to do, and this will be one of our capstone final exam things, is that we are able to do time management. We are able to plan the tasks very well. And at the end of the day, maybe after a week with the family, you yourself, based on your own activities and scouting the place and seeing what needs to be done, by the end of this training and our practicals, you should be able to create a plan for the work that you do, and stick to that plan. You create a plan after 1 week or a couple of days of being in the home. You create the plan and then you show it to your madam, this is the plan that I made daily. Or Mondays, Tuesdays I'll do this, Wednesdays I'll do this, and Fridays I'll do this, but we'll leave a little slot for flexibility. Then she'll see that this is a very professional lady. She knows what she's about. So write it down and follow it. Set the rules for yourself. Go for approvals. Help, let them tweak it for you, and follow it judiciously. If something was missed on the Monday, then you say, okay, then I'll move it on to Tuesday or next week Monday. Follow it. This plan, we'll do this in a practical step, how to plan for the week with some sample templates. So the next, as a recap, really, is comfort, but it's a bit of health relations involved in housekeeping. So housekeeping is important. It's important that you clean the space. It's important that you create a safe and healthy and comfortable environment for the whole home. So this is our key takeaway from today. Those homes that we are showing where everything is in the right place, looking like a hotel, it's not just about luxury. It's about having the professional housekeeper there, making it possible to live healthily. So healthy family living is why you are there. I'm Miss Care. We'll see you tomorrow where we'll talk about elder care. Take care.